Okay? So when we analyze all of these symptoms, what we have is a very rapid onset, a congestion of the head with coldness of the feet and hands. The congestion is experienced as this throbbing, pulsating headache that's worse when I stoop forward, because when they stoop forward, more blood rushes to the head. It's worse on the right side. It's a pounding and throbbing that's worse with jarring. Remember, they said if they sit down hard or if they step hard, it makes their head feel worse. Stooping and exposure to the sun makes them feel worse. They crave lemonade. They can have frightful deliriums with their fever, and they're anxious, and they have a flushed face with dilated pupils. This is the picture of the remedy belladonna, okay? So whether the person has a sore throat or a headache or a cough, doesn't matter what the chief complaint is. It's the totality of the experience that they have. Okay? So what the person would be given is belladonna, probably in a 30C, and the prescription would be, or what you'd ask them to take, would be 3 pellets under the tongue every 30 minutes until there's improvement noted, and then 3 more doses every 4 hours. Okay? If fever persists more than 3 days, or there's convulsions or hemorrhage or unequal pupils or loss of consciousness, or the fever goes above 104, professional help must be sought out immediately. Okay?
What do you mean? A doctor?
Doctor or naturopath. I mean, because I have experience working with situations like this, I would be comfortable treating somebody who experienced any of those.
What would you do different then?
Well, I would do...
If the bottom happened?
Right. I would use homeopathy and hydrotherapy as well. I mean, it's a matter of experience and confidence in knowing what you're doing and having had seen it before and knowing what to do. In my own personal experience, I've seen, treated, or have treated pneumonia with homeopathy and hydrotherapy, meningitis with homeopathy and hydrotherapy. I know of practitioners who've treated appendicitis in the hospital, and people haven't had to go through surgery. Okay.
What's belladonna?
Belladonna is a plant from the Solanaceae family. It was used, it's got atropine in it, and basically atropine was used from this plant to dilate women's eyes to make them look as though they were more attractive, and dilated their pupils and gave their face a flushed appearance. So it is, if you took this plant and you took it in like an herbal formula, it's poisonous. It can cause harm. But in a homeopathic dose, you've diluted it down so much that you've diminished any poisonous effects, and you've amplified the medicinal effects of the remedy. Okay?
So in homeopathy,
yeah.
do you use similar plants as in herbal medicine?
Mm-hmm.
Just dilute them more, or is it completely different plants?
No, same. Yeah. We have more plant remedies in homeopathy than we have mineral remedies or animal remedies. Yeah.
But the ones that are really diluted are the ones you wouldn't use herbally, like, because they're so diluted. The ones like that one. Like you would make.
Yeah. Well, belladonna and rauwolfia, and there's an aconite. They can be used, but I think you need a license in order to use, or you need at least a prescription in order to use them. So a lot of the herbs that you may be using, they're not going to have these, you're not going to have to deal with any plants that are considered poisonous.
Because like the asthma thing we were talking about in our shop, we carry some homeopathic stuff and it just says like asthma.
Right.
You know.
From boron? Are they the blue tubes?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, it just says homeopathic and it says asthma because my son was giving it to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, they're required by the FDA to put something on there. So if it's a remedy that's relatively well known to treat asthma, then they'll put that on there because they're required to by the FDA. But if you were to look in the repertory under respiration asthmatic, we've got about 97 remedies. Okay. Or if you were to look under respiration difficult, you've got 150 remedies. So
how good would this one be? I mean, because
it's hit and miss unless you understand the totality of the person's symptoms.
yeah, so I would think it'd be kind of just too general to sell it, but
Right. There, you have to put the thing about homeopathy is you have to put time and energy into understanding what's being treated in the person, the medicinal qualities of the medicines that you're using, and how to apply them. Okay, you can't cut corners in homeopathy.
it's like we have one, it's tobacco, you know, for people.
Tobacco, yeah.
I mean, how many of those do you have, or does this really work?
Right.
'Cause I don't like to mislead people and say, yeah, if you want to quit smoking, you need to take this.
Well, tobacco is known primarily for nausea. We use it homeopathically to treat nausea and vomiting. But we also have remedies like ipecac to treat nausea and vomiting as well. And they have subtle distinctions that the practitioner needs to understand in order to get the right one. If a remedy is given and it's not the right one of two things are going to happen. One is nothing's going to happen, or two, they're going to have like a mild palliation or a mild aggravation, which will go away after a while. So,
So really, you wouldn't suggest just in a herb shop grabbing a homeopathic medication?
you can try it. It's not going to hurt. But again, there needs to be some diligence. You need to take the totality of the person's experience, their symptoms. Some people get asthma because there's a fear of being alone all the time. Some people get asthma because of a reaction to things in the environment. Some people get asthma because of a grief that they've never been able to get over. You know, there's all these other underlying reasons as to why somebody's experiencing asthma.
Like for, let's say, just a quick example, my son gets sports asthma. It's cold air activity. And so because of what's in there, some of the things I was familiar with, I thought, well, we'll try it, and it seems to be helping. So
good. So that it's either, if it's a combination, there's some remedies in there that are similar.
that open the airway.
Right. They're similar, so they're providing some relief, which is good. If that's what you want. So there's some science behind the medicine. I recently came across this, which I find is pretty interesting, because one of the hurdles that people tend to stumble on or can't get over with homeopathy is this idea that the more you dilute something down, the more powerful it becomes medicinally. And they say, well, if there's nothing in the substance, if we were to do mass spectroscopy and you can't find any of the original substance, then what is it that the body's reacting to? This is all bogus. But here we have, there's a book by Dr. Bill Gray, who was a Stanford medical grad who's been practicing homeopathy for 29 years. He goes, the point is, now that modern research shows that the water that's prepared homeopathically is altered in its structure. This water does actually alter tissue, cultures, organ function, and entire animals, says Dr. Gray, who's been practicing homeopathy in the San Francisco Bay Area for 29 years.